Have you ever had this issue with a long game where on your first playthrough you played 10 or 20 hours of it, and then you put it down and then went back to it, realised you're lost, and then you had to go through that all over again and restart it? Well, that's what happened to me with The Witcher 3 all the time. And I got a code for the next gen update, so I challenged myself to play the game on the hardest difficulty and go back to it and see if I could get back into it. My history with The Witcher series is that I'm actually cooler than all of you, and I played The Witcher 1 and 2 before it was cool. The Witcher 1 had a decent story, but honestly it has one of the worst combat systems ever made. I get it, CD Projekt Red was a small Polish developer, so we can't expect much. The Witcher 2 had a better combat system, and overall it was an amazing game, and even to this day looks absolutely stunning. So there was no wonder why I was excited for The Witcher 3. It looked gorgeous and was one of the most hyped up games I can ever imagine. And at launch, it delivered in spades. Yeah, it was a bit buggy, but most open world RPGs are at launch. But what was there was an amazing narrative RPG with some of the best characters and side quests in a game I have ever played, and it easily rivaled BioWare's heyday and in some cases surpassed it. Even to this day, I can remember the build up to the Griffin fight, the werewolf quest with the wife that went missing, and then of course the frying pan quest that everybody mentions.
Here, your frying pan.
Mine? But mine were black with soot.
In my first playthrough, I got something like 20 or 30 hours into the game and got as far as the Red Baron quest line, which once again is an absolute banger of a story. But the open world fatigue hit. For every map I visited, I had to clear off all these open world objectives. And yeah, I know this is a problem with how I play games, but I really would have liked if The Witcher 3 led me to these places a bit more organically, kind of the way Breath of the Wild did 2 years after that. I felt overwhelmed by the game because of how much there was to do. And I think it's a combination of the game's length with the story and the side quests, and then the sheer amount of open world stuff to do on the map that just burnt me out. I also remember not liking the combat all too much, as it wasn't very impactful, and even on normal difficulty it was very easy. I put it down after all these issues added up, and over the years I've went back trying to restart the game, but every time I fell flat. But this time I was determined to get back into The Witcher 3. So I downloaded the game, sat down, played it on the hardest difficulty, and guess what? I gave up again. But this time I finally figured out exactly why I can't get into The Witcher 3. I was hoping for Death March to fix my issues with the game. And at the first fight with the ghouls, I really thought it was going to do it. I had to watch for enemy attacks, learn when to dodge and when to attack, and which is the best sign to use on different enemies. I was finally using Quinn and Axii, and it felt like every fight mattered. On my way to the inn at the start of the game, I saw the group of drowners that usually I would kill, but because of how difficult the first fight was, I just ran away from them and went straight to the story stuff. And from there over the next few combat encounters, I had to really try my hardest to kill the enemy. Even though the combat still didn't feel impactful, I was having fun finally because I had to actually think. This had me kind of excited for the Ghost at the Well quest and the Griffin fight, because I thought I would have to engage with the alchemy and crafting system so I can be properly equipped for the fight. I remember the steps for the Ghost of the Well and rushed into the fight with the Noonwraith without brewing any potions, but then I killed her easily. And then I was back to square one with the combat. Again, it was too easy and it just doesn't feel good. There's no impact on your hits. I was honestly quite disappointed at this time. I thought finally I could get into The Witcher 3, but I was still holding out hope for the Griffin fight. I remember it being so epic when the game launched, so I did the exact same thing. I rushed into the fight without brewing any potions, and I killed him very easily again. And while this was going on, I had another realization when playing The Witcher 3. I don't really like set protagonists in these massive RPGs. When I think back to my favourite Western RPGs, every single one of them has a creative character that I can project myself onto, and that's what keeps me coming back. Dragon Age Origins is my favourite RPG of all time, and that has both a custom character and a great combat system. Whereas other great RPGs like Fallout or The Elder Scrolls don't have particularly great combat systems, but the world and custom characters are what keep me coming back. And guess what The Witcher 3 doesn't have? A custom character, a good combat system, and a fun open world to explore. And that's why I'll never be able to get into The Witcher 3. I got as far as almost completing the Bloody Baron quest line, and the final nail in the coffin was the baby fight. Again, I was hoping I'd need potions and oils to beat him, but no. It was just a spongy fight where he has exactly 2 attacks, and it took me like 10 or 15 minutes to kill him, and then that was me done. So I figured it out. My favourite RPGs that I'm willing to put all of this time into have to have 2 of these things. Fun world to explore like a Bethesda game, a custom character that I can build to my liking, and an engaging combat system. And for me, The Witcher has none of these. I can appreciate the storytelling and characters in The Witcher because they are absolutely fantastic. The cast is unreal and the story deals with some tough topics, and I also think Geralt is hilarious. But for me to sink 60 hours into it, I need more than just a good story. And also, the game looks amazing, but the next gen port has awful laggy menus and the game chugs like a fecker every time you exit your map.